Sophie, honey, your bun is crooked again.
Mom stood behind me in her crisp military uniform, every hair in place. Sometimes I wondered if she came out of the womb perfectly pressed and polished. Maybe if I cut it all off.
Absolutely not. A ballerina needs proper hair. You need to be perfect to get into Juilliard.
That was Mom, always pushing and expecting more. When I got an A, she asked, why not an A+? When I won silver in the regional dance competition, she reminded me gold was better. Even my little sister Rose's social media following wasn't enough. It had to be purposeful content that would look good on college applications. Dad used to balance her out, bringing chaos and laughter into our world. He'd tell us wild stories about his combat missions, teaching us survival skills just in case, and sneaking us junk food when Mom wasn't looking. But then he was deployed again, and this time he didn't come back. So I became what Mom needed, the perfect daughter. Straight A's, perfect pirouettes, student council president. I made sure Rose did her homework, kept her room clean, and stayed out of trouble. Our house ran like a military operation, and I was second in command. Until that morning when everything changed. I was helping Rose edit her latest YouTube video, a review of some new mascara. Even though she was wearing falsies and pretending it was all the mascara's magic, when Mom walked in, she looked scared. And Mom never looked scared.
Girls, I need you to pack a bag. You're going to stay with your Aunt Catherine for a while.
Aunt who?
Is she Instagram worthy?
Catherine, my sister. She lives in Arizona.
The sister she never talked about? The one whose name I'd only heard during late night arguments with Dad? Always with that edge in Mom's voice that meant danger, keep out? Mom, I can't leave. I have summer intensives, college prep courses, the youth leadership program.
This isn't a discussion, Sophie. I'm being deployed on an emergency medical mission. Something's come up.
Mom, what's really going on? She just looked at me, as if measuring her next words carefully.
Sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the rules. Your father understood that, and now I need you to understand it too.
Then she pulled me close.
Trust no one and keep your sister safe.
24 hours later, we were in a black SUV with tinted windows, being driven by one of Mom's old friends through the Arizona desert. Rose was live streaming the cacti, turning our exile into content for her followers. I was trying not to throw up.
Oh my God, Sophie, look! Is that a lion?
I'd been obsessively checking Mom's last known location on my phone, but when I looked up, my heart stopped. There, sprawled across the front porch of what looked like a junkyard crossed with a fortress, was a full-grown male lion. The next chapter of Love in Deep Space is here, and it's bigger than ever. Step into the futuristic city of Lincoln and the wider cosmos, where love and destiny collide in the cinematic 3D dating sim. Available worldwide on mobile with the version 5.0 update. The brand new limited banner Throne of Eros is now live, featuring all love interests with new identities. You rise as the queen of the Alor galaxy, standing at the center of interstellar power. Fight alongside Zane, the Grand General of the Cosmic Empire. Meet Raphael, Santark of the Sanctide Court. Face Caleb, High Marshal whose path opposes yours. Rule with Silas, Sovereign of the rising power Chaosi. And reunite with Xavier, the Crown Prince lost to time. Version 5.0 also introduces the long-awaited home system. Build and decorate your own house, unlock the garden, and share daily moments together. From quiet routines to unexpected interactions, your home comes alive. This is the best starter experience for new players. Claim livestream rewards, join version 5.0 events, and enjoy new gameplay to enjoy 10 grand, luxurious gifts, villas, 1,000 plus furniture, memory crates, 5-star memories, wishes, diamonds, letters, paper cuts, outfits, props, journals, and more. Many people worry that games will consume too much memory. This update introduces a new quick resource cleanup feature, so you can download without any burden. Enjoy smooth and seamless gameplay. Perhaps you've played this game before, but were plagued with memory issues. Now is the perfect time to be back. Download Love and Deep Space now and begin your journey beyond the stars. The driver hit the brakes so hard our suitcases went flying. This has to be a mistake. Mom would never.
Oh, that's just Maple. Don't mind him. He's a big softie.
I turned to the voice behind me to see a woman limping down the path. She looked like Mom might have looked if Mom had been raised by wolves.
I'm your Auntie Caddy, in case you were wondering.
A softie? It's a lion! Is that even allowed?
Are you a stickler for rules and regulations?
Rules and regulations keep people safe.
Is that what Angela told you? Funny. You shouldn't take everything she says so seriously.
What do you mean? But she was already turning away, whistling for the lion to follow her.
Come on, girls, let's get you settled. We've got a lot of work to do.
Week 1 was hell. Bad Wi-Fi, no ballet, just lions, chaos, and an aunt who loved wrecking my world.
Sophie, the cubs need feeding.
I'm practicing my routine.
Life doesn't wait for perfect timing, kiddo. Sometimes you gotta dance with the lions you've got.
She was insane. She had to be. Who lets teenagers handle lions? Who builds a fortress in the desert? Who takes in dangerous animals and treats them like oversized house cats? And then Aunt Caddy dropped another bomb on us.
By the way, I enrolled you both at Desert Ridge High. You start Monday.
I paced the dusty yard that night, trying again to reach Mom. Nothing. 3 weeks of radio silence. Dad would have never dumped us in the desert with a stranger and a pride of lions. The morning of our first day, I woke up at 5 a.m. out of habit. I found Aunt Caddy already up, standing over a desk covered with maps and photographs. What's all this? She quickly rolled up a map marked with shipping routes and pins.
Conservation work. Nothing for you to worry about.
She tossed me a set of keys.
There's an old Jeep in the barn. Not pretty, but it runs. It'll help get you and Rose to school.
You're trusting me with a car?
Your mom said you were responsible back home. Besides, we're 20 miles from nowhere out here.
Desert Ridge High looks like it hadn't been updated since the 1970s. The moment Rose and I walked in, the conversation stopped. In our old school, we'd been well known. Perfect Sophie Chen and her influencer sister. Here, we were aliens.
You must be the new girls! The ones living with the crazy cat lady!
I think you meant eccentric.
Whoa, sorry, no offense. I'm Rolo. My dad's the local vet who helps your aunt sometimes. I think what she does is awesome.
Wanna be in my vlog? I'm documenting desert life.
Sure? What's a vlog?
Rose stared at him as if his teeth had turned to fangs, and I almost smiled. By lunchtime, everyone knew we were the Lion Girls. For a second, I was almost feeling like a celebrity. But my delusions were cut short when a girl with expensive highlights and designer jeans stopped at our table.
I'm Kylie Montgomery. My dad's on the town council. He says your aunt's sanctuary is a dangerous eyesore that needs to be shut down.
Her lions are rescued. They'd be killed otherwise.
Whatever. Just don't get too comfortable there, freaks. And tell your crazy aunt that my dad always gets what he wants.
And with that, she walked off.
Ignore her. Her dad wants to build luxury homes on the land near your aunt's sanctuary. He's been trying to force her out for years.
I felt a strange surge of protectiveness. Aunt Caddy might be chaos personified, but those lions needed her. And for some reason, I didn't like the idea of anyone calling her crazy but me. Back at the sanctuary, I found Rose sitting on the porch steps with her phone, but she wasn't filming.
Do you think we'll ever go home, back to our real lives?
I sank down beside her. I don't know. Mom's gone dark, and this place?
It's like we've fallen into some alternate universe where Mom has a secret sister who's basically Lion Mom, and we're the weird new kids, and nothing makes sense anymore.
Exactly.
But is it weird that I kinda like it? Not the school part. Those kids are total zombies compared to my followers. But the lions, they're actually amazing.
I had noticed that Rose's content nowadays was less makeup tutorials and more behind-the-scenes sanctuary life. Her captions were less about herself and more about conservation. Since when do you care about wildlife preservation, Rose Chen?
Since a lion named Maple purred like a motorboat when I scratched his ears, since I realized these incredible animals are being hunted to extinction, is that so weird?
And then one day, Aunt Caddy got sick. It started with her brushing off a fever and insisting it was nothing serious. But by the 3rd day, she couldn't get out of bed.
It's just a bug. I'll be fine.
You have a fever of 102. You need to see a doctor.
No doctors, no hospitals. They ask too many questions.
About what? The lions? She didn't answer, just closed her eyes.
There's a notebook in my desk drawer. Feeding schedules, medication routines, everything you need to know.
I can't run this place, Aunt. I'm not qualified.
Sophie, you're a Chen. We adapt.
Suddenly, the sanctuary was on me. Feeding schedules, medical routines, fixing fences. Just me, a crumpled notebook, and a pride of lions counting on me. At first, I panicked and second-guessed myself over everything. But slowly, something shifted, and I started to hear the rhythm in the chaos. When Maple paced around with his tail flicking sharply, I figured it meant his water trough was empty. When Shadow gave a low, throaty rumble, I knew she was calling for her cubs to stay close. I even started watching Sage for signs of an incoming storm. He always seemed to sense it before the first cloud appeared. And then one night, I witnessed one of the lionesses giving birth to a cub no bigger than my hand. I don't know why, but something about seeing that fragile, helpless creature nuzzling against his mom brought me to tears, and I cried like I hadn't allowed myself to in years. When Aunt Caddy finally staggered out of bed a week later, she just grinned at the sight of me covered in dirt and lion hair.
Well, look at that. Turns out you can dance with the lions after all.
I'd grown closer to all the lions, except Wishbone, who was clearly quite different. He kept to himself, his scarred face and ragged mane telling stories of a harder life. But sometimes, I'd catch him watching me with those ancient, knowing eyes.
He was a fighter, that one. Rich folks used him in illegal matches, betting on which lion would kill the other. Took us 3 years to track him down.
I found myself sneaking out one night to the vegetable garden where Wishbone liked to sleep, and one night, I caught him destroying Aunt Caddy's carrot patch. You're really committed to ruining this garden, huh? Wishbone didn't dignify me with a response and just flicked his tail. That night, I heard voices from Aunt Caddy's office. I crept down the hallway, stopping outside the door left slightly ajar.
Angela, it's been 3 weeks. The girls need to know what's going on. Yes, I've been careful. No one's asking questions yet, but it's a matter of time. Fine, another week. But then I'm telling them.
Mom had been in contact with Aunt Caddy all along, but ignoring me as if I was some annoying fly? Back at school, things were changing too. Rose had become something of a minor celebrity. Her videos about sanctuary life were gaining real traction, and Kylie Montgomery looked as hostile as ever when she saw Rose walking by with her growing entourage.
Your sister's videos are actually making a difference. My dad said the sanctuaries received more donations in the last month than in the whole past year.
Yeah, I heard.
Also, I was wondering, there's this bonfire thing Friday night. Nothing too fancy. Would you and Rose want to come?
Oh, I'm not sure.
And before you say no, I should mention that Rose already said yes. And she's bringing, quote, awesome footage of baby lion playtime.
The bonfire was at an abandoned quarry outside town, and while everyone else seemed to be enjoying the fire and music, and Rose had her own audience, I hung back, feeling oddly disconnected from this ordinary teenage scene. Just then, Rollo appeared by my side.
You look like you're planning an escape route.
That obvious, huh?
You know, it's okay to not be okay. Moving across the country, living with an aunt you didn't know existed, surrounded by deadly predators, that's a lot.
When you put it that way, I sound pretty well adjusted. I was beginning to actually relax and have a good time when Kylie walked over, a big smirk on her face.
Hate to be the party pooper, but I had to tell you this. My dad's getting his way, and your crazy cat lady aunt is finished.
What are you talking about?
Daddy says she's operating without proper permits, and he has proof. Once he presents it at the county board meeting, they'll be packing her up, and we can finally develop that whole area. Luxury homes with a view.
We'll see about that. I've got 300,000 followers who might have something to say about it.
Like anyone cares what a bunch of internet losers think.
Before Rose could respond, I pulled her away. We need to tell Aunt Caddy. Back at the sanctuary, we found Aunt Caddy in her office, poring over documents at her desk.
Already ahead of you, kids. Montgomery filed a complaint with the county. Claims I'm operating an illegal exotic animal exhibit without proper licensing.
That's ridiculous! This is a sanctuary!
Legally, it's complicated, and Montgomery has friends in high places.
The same high places Mom is investigating? Aunt Caddy gave me a sharp look, then glanced at Rose.
What? What's Mom investigating? What aren't you telling me?
She pulled out a worn photo album. Inside were pictures I'd never seen before. Mom and Aunt Caddy in jungle gear, receiving some kind of conservation award.
Your mother and I were wildlife biologists. We specialized in tracking animal trafficking networks, the people who smuggle endangered species across borders. We were good at it. Too good, in fact.
She flipped to a newspaper clipping.
We uncovered evidence that high-ranking military personnel were involved in a smuggling operation. Your mother wanted to go public. I wanted to gather more evidence first. We fought. She left. Joined the actual military to change it from within, she said. Then she met your dad, had you girls, and never looked back.
The image of my perfect, rule-following mother was fracturing before my eyes. But now?
Now she's found evidence that the same network is still operating, bigger than before. She's gone undercover to gather proof.
And we're here because...
Because you're a leverage, kiddo. If the wrong people knew where you were, they could use you to get to her.
So our entire lives have been a lie? Mom's perfect military nurse persona was just, what, a cover?
Not a lie, a choice. Your mother chose security for you girls over the crusade we started. Can't say I blamed her, especially after your dad.
But now she's back in it, and we're here because we might be in danger?
We both nodded. Rose was quiet for a moment, then pulled out her phone.
I'm deleting all my location tags, and I'm going to start a campaign about the sanctuary. If Montgomery wants a fight, we'll give him one.
Over the next few days, Rose mobilized her following like a general commanding troops. Meanwhile, I dove into the legal side, researching sanctuary regulations and permit requirements. The night before the county board meeting, we were up late preparing our case when suddenly we heard the sound of an engine approaching.
We're not expecting anyone.
We went to the security monitors, then froze.
3 vehicles coming fast, no headlights.
My stomach dropped. Not county officials, not this late.
Get to the safe room, now.
But what about you?
Now, Sophie, take Rose.
I grabbed Rose's arm, pulling her toward the reinforced storeroom that Aunt Caddy had said we could use in case of emergency. Behind us, Aunt Caddy was grabbing a tranquilizer gun from the cabinet. We'd barely made it to the hallway when the first crash came. The sound of the front gate being rammed. Then there was shouting and flashlight beams sweeping the yard.
I'm calling 911.
That signal out here, remember? We huddled in the safe room, listening to men's voices echoing through the sanctuary. Then we heard lion roars, frightened, angry.
They're going after the lions!
Before I could stop her, she'd run past me out into the hallway. I followed to find Rose crouching by a window, filming the scene outside in the yard. Men with cages, loading tranquilized cubs into trucks.
We need this proof.
Through the glass, I spotted Aunt Caddy confronting one of the men, tranquilizer gun raised. But before she could fire, another man emerged from the shadows behind her. A flash of metal, then Aunt Caddy crumpled to the ground.
No!
I clamped a hand over her mouth, and as the men went back to capturing the lions, I turned to her. Stay here. Don't move. I need to see if Aunt Caddy is okay. I slipped out and stealthily made my way over to Aunt Caddy. She was alive, but unconscious. Just then, I looked up, and my stomach lurched. Rose had come out too, and she was hiding in a bush capturing evidence of the men up close. But she was too close. And then, it all happened so fast. One of the men suddenly spotted her, and suddenly, she was being dragged away as she fought and screamed. I ran towards her as they threw her into the truck along with the caged cubs. And before I could get close to her, they were driving off into the desert. Panic washed over me in a wave so strong I could barely breathe. Oh my God. They'd taken my baby sister. That's when I heard Wishbone's low growl. He stood in the carrot patch, those knowing eyes fixed on me. And suddenly, I understood what Mom meant about breaking rules. I need your help. Please, they took Rose. He lowered his head, and I did the craziest thing I've ever done. I climbed onto his back. We followed the truck's trail, Wishbone's powerful stride eating up the miles. I thought about Dad. About how he'd always said courage wasn't about being fearless, but about being scared and doing it anyway. The chase led us straight into Phoenix, where, unsurprisingly, riding a lion through the city caused absolute chaos.
All units, be advised. We have reports of a teenage girl riding a lion down Central Avenue.
This is Sky 5 with breaking news. I can't believe I'm saying this. An actual lion sprinting through downtown with a girl on its back.
We followed the truck's taillights into an industrial warehouse near a private airstrip. A jet sat waiting, cargo doors open, minutes from takeoff. Wishbone skidded to a stop behind a stack of crates just as I spotted Rose. I got off of Wishbone, holding him by his mane, and then I looked into his eyes. Wait here for my signal. Then I sneaked in as quietly as I could. I found Rose locked in a cage.
Took you long enough.
But as we fell to the ground, I looked up at the menacing bad guy.
Get him.
We heard a huge roar out of the frame, and both the bad guy and I turned our heads toward the direction from which the roar came. And there he was, our hero, Wishbone, standing proudly at the warehouse entrance. He had heard my signal, and then he made a run at the traffickers. Things got chaotic pretty quickly after that. Rose and I opened the rest of the cages, and cubs spilled from open crates, bolting in every direction. Lions stepped from the shadows, sending the traffickers into blind panic. One guy tripped over a metal bucket, taking 2 others down with him. 2 others made a break for it and landed straight into an empty holding pen, slamming the doors behind them.
Lock it! Lock it!
Wishbone let out one final earth-shattering roar, and that was enough. The remaining traffickers fled just as police sirens wailed in the distance, and in a few hours, they had rounded up all the culprits. But the real shock came when we got home. Aunt Caddy was awake, and Mom was beside her. Mom! She pulled us into a fierce hug and held us for a while. Then she explained that she was here because she knew the trafficking ring would be making a move tonight at the sanctuary, and they had to be caught in the act.
Sometimes the only way forward is to take a risk. Your father taught me that. And you girls, you proved it. Sophie, I'm so proud of you for being brave, for standing by your sister.
Things changed. Mom and Aunt Caddy made the sanctuary official, but the lions moved to Africa. Saying goodbye to Wishbone hurt, but the last photo Aunt Caddy sent showed him sitting in the tall grass, finally looking like the king who belonged to the jungles.